Hey there neighbors, welcome back to the channel. This is Anarchy in the 603, and you're here for another postcard from your friendly neighborhood anarchist. Absolutely nobody's favorite, D-tier production quality, off-dome and unscripted dispatch from wherever I'm sitting to wherever you are right now. Currently just chilling in the backyard, been doing my embroidery today. Figured I would check in with you guys since it's been a hot minute. I ended up getting swarmed by a bunch of gnats one night when I was sitting out here in the dark, and I ended up having a massive allergic reaction that had me sick and itchy and covered in hives for nearly 2 weeks. It was awful. But that's finally past me. I'm feeling a ton better. But anyway, so awkward segue aside, if you haven't noticed by my utter lack of technical skill, camera presence, or familiarity or comfort in front of a camera, massive under eye bags, under chin waddle, silver hair, occasional frown lines, I am old as fuck. 47 years old, married now for the last 25 years. I've got a 24-year-old son. Yeah, I was born on the tail end of Gen X. And I was thinking the other day about how different things are now compared to, like for my son, compared to the life that I had growing up at his age, and the different expectations there were for me and for people of my generation, and how attainable they are or were for us compared to him. And I was also thinking about the way that things... Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Do you hear that high-pitched noise in the background, sort of a cheeping noise? We've got baby broad-winged hawks in some trees up here, and they are not stopping. Yeah, I was thinking back to, November, and how I started my channel in my car spontaneously on election day because I just had way too much on my mind and on my heart that day, and I couldn't just sit and hold it in silence. And frankly, I felt that everyone in my house had heard so much from me already as it was. And so, here we are, 83 or so subscribers later, still yapping, and awkwardly at that. But, I was thinking back to then and how different things were even then compared to now. I couldn't imagine ICE in the streets, kidnapping people, construction workers, moms of infant babies, farm workers just going out there to pick crops, just yanking them wholesale out the streets. U.S. citizens, people getting yanked out from their court hearings who have been doing everything right, doing all the right steps. And, I keep thinking about how it's changed so quickly. And one thing I would like to think about really is this really what we want? And if we could turn the clock back, would we? Or how can I put it? I was asking myself the question, if I could, would I go back to the way things were in November? No. I wouldn't, because tensions were incredibly high. Just the last 5 years, the last 10 years, the tail end of the Obama era, if I could rewind the clock back to anything, I would have Al Gore stay in the fight and wait for all those votes to be counted, all of those hanging chads. That's how far back I would want to rewind things. That's the last time I could think of where maybe some of what's happening now could have been stopped. And I know that you can't rewind that clock back, nor would I really ultimately want to, because things weren't even great entirely back then for people. If you think about it, we already still had the rising income inequality. We were already seeing the rise in corporatism. We still had unspoken racial tensions. There were a lot of things about this country 20-something years ago that needed to change, that have changed for the better. I mean, marriage equality, for one, I sure as hell wouldn't want to turn the clock back on that. The fact that we can get AIDS nearly undetectable in people now if they take the right medication, or completely undetectable in people if they have the right medication. I wouldn't want to turn the clock back on that. So my question is, what world do we want to build? Because I don't know about you, but since don't want to turn the clock back, and we can't anyway, even if we wanted to. And if right now is so goddamn untenable, and I don't know about you, but for me it sure as hell is, what kind of future do we want? For me, I want a future where if somebody wants to live in a multi-generational home, if they want to live in community, they should be encouraged to do so because it builds stronger community bonds. But it shouldn't be because they have no choice but to pack in 10 to a one-bedroom apartment, and it's either that or homelessness. I don't want to be living in a country where we have fruit rotting on the vine and in the ground, on the trees, because the workers are being yanked away by ICE. But I don't want to be living in a world where those farmers and farmhands aren't getting paid equitably either. And I don't want to be living in a world where farmer bankruptcies and suicides are once again peaking. But you know, we've been losing our small family farms over and over and over again throughout the decades, and they've been getting bought up by big agribusiness. And those small family farms were often purchased or stolen from people of color who lost them along the way. I mean, like, it's all stolen land when you get back down to it. So I would like a more equitable division of, like, who gets to benefit from that land, and how we steward that land needs to change too. I grew up in a time when we had a hole in the ozone layer, and it terrified us. And we went out and we did something about it. We banned the chemicals that were causing it, and we shrank and eventually erased the hole in the ozone layer. If we band together and make a fucking decision to do something different, we can change the world. I want to live in a world not where people are getting kidnapped off the streets, but are given a fair path to citizenship, far more fair than this one. I mean, the whole reason why we have this migrant worker crisis in the first place, this legal path to citizenship crisis in the first place, is because it's only become more restrictive. It has not gotten any easier. The immigration process has gotten, if anything, more Byzantine, more document heavy, more of a burden for people to achieve. And this is like good people who have absolutely been trying for fucking decades to finish out the process. And what, now we snatch them up out of their court hearings? No, I don't want to live in that world. I want to live in a better world than that. I want to live in a world where we don't have to fear a carceral state, where we don't have to fear living in a fucking police state, where we don't have the largest, not just prison population in the world, but for-profit prison population in the world. And it's only growing now that ICE detention centers are being made and, like, administered by for-profit prison companies. They are making bank off of this, and you wonder why it's happening. It's not just the racism, folks. It's also capitalism. Your tax dollars funding the billionaires at work. I mean, they can't afford to, you know, feed hungry kids with the SNAP program, but we can sure afford to snatch our farm workers out of the fields. You know, we've got programs getting yanked away from people who need them. People are losing their health care. They're in fear of losing their SNAP benefits. They're in fear of losing their Meals on Wheels programs. People are already losing these things. These programs that our most vulnerable people rely on. Also, that the billionaires can get a bigger tax cut. What the fuck do our taxes even go to? It goes to lining their pockets. They're taking away programs from us and benefits from us in real time just to line the profits of billionaires. And meanwhile, people are going hungry. People are scared. People are in fear of losing their homes. I want better than this. and hating people and throwing people in for-profit prisons and blaming migrant workers and blaming trans people and blaming fucking people that have no power in this society, when we're seeing right now the very real effects of rampant capitalism, rampant oligarchy at work. Like, what is a government even supposed to do for its people? They're not keeping us safe. People are getting kidnapped out of our streets. U.S. citizens are getting brutalized by masked, unidentified officers of the law. People who are just trying to work and live are getting snatched away from their families. And meanwhile, we've got a president who is in photo after photo after photo with the most industrial grade child assaulter that this country's ever caught. And he's desperately trying to distract you from that. All the meanwhile, he's still doing his best to try to line the pockets of his friends before it all comes crashing down. And it's like, we've already seen what hating each other can get. We've already seen what blaming people who are struggling just as much, if not more than we are, gets us. It's time to start making them hear what we want. It's time to start asking ourselves what we want, and it's time to start demanding from them that we get that. We need to hold our elected officials to account. We need to hold our governmental systems to account. None of this matters if we all don't buy into it. Like 33% of the court orders that have been issued since the start of this regime have been outright ignored by the very regime that appointed a lot of these judges. Like, we've had Bush era judges, first Trump era judges, like, and you know, some Obama and Biden judges too getting defied, but like, the media keeps trying to tell you, and like Fox News keeps trying to tell you, you know, it's like these radical left-wing judges, and it's like, and what does the law even matter if the highest office in the land just looks at y'all and says, like, we're supposed to be paying our taxes, we're supposed to be following the rules, we're supposed to be beholden to the law, but the government itself doesn't have to be? What about government for the people, by the people, you know, of the people and all of that? It sounds more like a fucking top-down dictatorship, you know, fuck you, got mine, you know, do as I say, not as I do. Like, so, you know, do what you can, and like, I'm gonna be joining a local indivisible group. I'm already getting out into my community more, like joining just local social groups like my local library knitting group and stuff, just to build those community bonds, get to talking to people, get to thinking about what do we want to do next, where do we want to go next, because we certainly don't want to go backwards. We're certainly being dragged somewhere I don't want to be. And let's just try to shape a better future together. Because I don't know about you guys, this isn't the world I wanted to leave to my kid. This isn't the world I wanted to leave to my grandkids. This certainly isn't the world I did not want to inherit for myself, let alone for them. And we really need to do something about it. It's only too late if we don't try in the first place. Anyway, neighbors, I got a little bit of daylight left, so I better keep working on this while I still have the chance. Take care of yourselves out there. In the meantime, you know, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'll leave the light on for you and all that good stuff. Until next time, see you later.